Chris. Why don't you start by telling me about yourself?
My name is Chris J. Cook. I'm originally from New Jersey. I'm a sophomore here at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I transferred from Rochester Institute of Technology this past fall. I'm I'm an economics and global studies double major. I plan on graduating in 2017. I have various leadership experiences starting in high school with math club president, student council vice president, and at RIT, my first business class there, I participated as CEO of a business endeavor, and we created an extensive business plan and presented to faux investors, where we actually came in first. And here at UNC, I'm involved in a fraternity, Pi Kappa Alpha, here on campus, where I serve as alumni chair and on the judicial board.
Okay. All right. So, why are you interested in this fellowship?
I'm interested in the Frontline HPJ Fellowship, specifically because it suits my interests that I want to do in my career for my entire life. It has an entrepreneurial focus, which is something that I'm very interested in. It has a social justice focus, which is something that I really want in a job that I have, something that benefits the world around me. And it also has a fair amount of autonomy, which I feel like my leadership skills through my serving as math club president and student council vice president, and then continuing as CEO of my business endeavor at RIT, that serves me well to suit this job.
Okay. So tell me about a social justice issue that you feel passionate about.
That first started with me through my mother. My mother was a special ed teacher, and she got me involved pretty early on in something called Challengers League Sports. It was a locally run program for special needs students, and a lot of times varsity athletes would do it. They would volunteer their time to be a buddy for a special needs student, just to play sports with them, and changes throughout the season. So in the fall there's soccer, and in the winter there's basketball, in the spring there's t-ball, and I got involved starting about 5th grade, and I kept doing it throughout high school, and whenever I'm home I try to get there, but I just love it, and it sparked my interest in to start doing something that helps people around me.
Okay, good. So tell me about what's the most innovative project you've worked on? So this fellowship requires that entrepreneurial spirit, which requires usually a lot of creativity and innovation. So tell me about a time that you did something very creatively or innovatively, or what's the most creative thing you worked on?
That would have to be the business plan that I prepared and presented while at RIT. We started first semester brainstorming a couple products that we thought about didn't really work out, and we eventually landed on a wire clip. So it was designed for college students because we were college students, and it clips onto your desk and it runs all your wires through it, so it organizes your desk.
And stop.
I don't think so. Sorry about that. So
okay.
It organizes your wires, and we went from the beginning stages, and I ended up myself on one of the parts that I worked on the project. I created research. I used research to create a projection of our sales for 5 years. Took a lot of innovation and creativity. I also, on that project, had to innovate as the CEO and work with people that I'd never worked with before.
Okay. So you said that you got really creative with the analysis portion or the forecasting portion. What about it you felt was very creative?
I took using a database with my school, the library database. We used Mintel Research. They conduct research studies in the fields, in the demographics that we're targeting, and I had to analyze that demographic surveys and research and put it into how it affect our sales and our competitors, how our competitors factor into our market. and what sales we could expect over the next 5 or so years.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so what do you know about us?
I know that HPJ, the HPJ Fellowship from Frontline, had been offered for several years, and it's really keen on social justice issues. You work with nonprofits to help make sure that they're using all their resources and consult them to make sure that they're being as efficient as they can and helping as many people as they can.
Okay. All right. Tell me about a time when your communication skills were challenged.
I'm going to go back to the business plan
Okay.
that I created.
Mm-hmm.
There was one member of my group who was an international student, and that made things from communication on a daily basis to maybe electronic communication a little more difficult. She would maybe mistake some grammar or miss some social norms. We had to work around that, and we figured out where she was most effective and where we were most effective, and we ended up getting the job done very well and working together very well.
Okay. Where was this person most effective?
We put her in charge of our finances, so she figured out the numbers that it would take to buy the materials that we needed, and she figured out how much profit we would have, how much money we would gain, and same thing as profit, but yeah. So we figured out she was most effective there, and she continued in that role throughout the project.
Mm-hmm. And how did she react to you moving her to another?
We didn't exactly move her. Early on in the first semester, that project was over the course. It was part of a class, and it was a 2-semester class. So the first semester, we learned a lot about the businesses themselves without a specific product in mind. And during one of the projects we did with the same group, she was very good with the numbers on a different faux business. So we saw the carryover, that the good effect that she could have with the finances, and she saw that too, and we decided as a group to put her there.
Okay. Okay. So tell me about a time when you tried to accomplish something and failed.
That I would it's not really listed on my resume that much, but I was lined up at my first Rochester Institute of Technology to play soccer there for Division III soccer, and several months before I was due to arrive for preseason in May of my senior year, I simultaneously fractured my shin and my kneecap, and I was out for several months leading up to preseason, and basically the week of preseason. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I was cleared to play by my doctor the week of preseason, and without having running for several months, I went into college preseason, went through it completely out of shape. I didn't make the team, but I knew I could have played the next 4 years because I was in a 5-year program at the time, but I kind of took that as a sign, and I didn't really like where I was at the time, so I changed it. I made sure my grades were very good, and I came here to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Okay. So what made you want to transfer?
It wasn't the right environment of school for me. It was I really loved. They did have a good entrepreneurial focus, but it was a really technology-driven school, an engineering-driven school, which is not a subject that my major is a part of. I didn't really want to be. I mean, I wanted to be exposed to it, but it was not my thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm.
All right. What are your strengths?
My biggest strength is I see is my adaptability.
Okay.
I already mentioned coming, changing my perspective after that injury that ended basically my collegiate soccer career. I also sadly had to experience the death of my mother my junior year of high school, and that really hit me hard. But I came back, and during one of the most important times in my high school career, to get good grades and get into the colleges I wanted to get into at the time. And I also, as a transfer student, it's been difficult at first, but I found my niche, and I've succeeded so far after my initial struggle. So I think my adaptability is one of my strongest attributes.
Okay. So give me some other strengths. What else are you good at?
I'm very good at my leadership and planning abilities. I've practiced these skills through being alumni chair. I organize events with alumni. I communicate with them directly, trying to raise funds for my fraternity. I was the president of Math Club, where I organized events like we had an event called Math Elementary Day. For student council vice president, I organized events like Students to Students Day, participated and led these events. So I feel like that gives me a strong foundation to be a good leader.
Okay. So what about tell me what is your one weakness?
I think my largest weakness has historically been that I try to take on too much, and when I take something on, I attach my name to it, so I want to put in my best effort. But recently, I've learned more to prioritize. But historically, it's been my tendency to take on too much at once.
Okay. Okay, so we just talked about prioritization. Tell me about a time where you had to prioritize several deadlines.
Um, I think this week is a perfect example. I had been preparing for this interview, and I also had to write a 10-page paper that I have due tomorrow for my Intro to Africa class. Very different subjects, and I had to balance my time pretty much all day this week, like every day, all day this week. Also, while having to prepare for several of my friends are visiting this week. One of my friends from upstate New York and two of my friends from New Jersey, and I just had to get all my work done before they came. So I had to allot the right time for everything and get it done.
Okay. So how did you go about deciding what to put first, what you needed to do, what you needed to work on afterwards?
I
A little bit through that.
Well, how I decided to pick what to work on first was what is immediately most important. So, earlier this week, it was preparing for this interview, and then the paper, and then for my friends to come, because that's the order of events, how it's happening, and how it was most important to me when I had to do it because of the time deadline.
Okay. All right. So tell me about a time when you delegated a project effectively.
Okay. During my soccer career, I was often chosen to be a captain, and as on the high school soccer team, I really had to delegate as a senior, and we were really leaders for the younger guys on the team. So the coach entrusted me with taking the goalie under my wing, and I had to give him advice and give him tasks, and like I gave him stuff to practice. I would tell him to go home and practice with him, with his parents or with his brothers, and just get better every day. And he did that, and we ended up going further than we have in a long time in soccer.
Okay. Good. All right. So how does this position play into your career goals?
My focuses for my career are entrepreneurship, social benefit, and leadership, and that those all line up with Frontline's values and the HPJ fellowship needs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that those are skills that I have, and those are skills that I want to develop more. And I think the HPJ fellowship lines up very well with those skills.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So here, as an alumni outreach chair, it says that you planned events to entertain over 60 guests.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
So every fall semester we have alumni come for football games. One particular football game we call Alumni Weekend, and we have to plan and prepare for multiple alumni to come. Sometimes we don't know exactly how many there are that come. We try to reach out to them, but we don't always get a response, and we don't know exactly who's coming or who's not. So we have to prepare for various numbers of guests, various different ages. Alumni bring their children, bring their grandchildren,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to get all our members ready to interact with these alumni.
Okay. So how did you get everyone ready?
I made sure that everyone knew the right attire, the right demeanor to use with alumni, how to talk to them politely, reminding them about all these things, and I think everyone did a good job of what I told them.
Okay. All right. So why should we hire you?
Because my skills match up exactly with what you need. I showed you I was a leader through high school, through my first year of college, and at Pi Kappa Alpha, I learned strong research skills on my business project. I learned strong entrepreneurial skills. I learned that I love entrepreneurship on my business project, and I just want to continue doing those things, including something along the lines of social justice, which is what the HPJ Fellowship is about.
Okay. Any questions you have for us?
I have a few questions.
Okay.
I have them written down here, if you don't mind. How would you describe Frontline Solutions business culture?
Okay.
I'll
I'm not going to answer them.
I'll just read them off.
Okay.
What does an average day in this position look like?
Okay.
What is your favorite thing about working here? What is your least favorite thing about working here? What is the training process like for an HPJ fellowship position?
Okay. All right, good. All right. So we're going to wrap up. We're going to stop a little bit earlier so I can